If you wake up every morning feeling like your joints have been replaced with rusty hinges, and you sit on the edge of your bed for those extra few minutes not because you want to, but because you need to mentally prepare for that sharp shooting pain that comes with your first step, then what I am about to share with you could change everything. My name is Lauren from Lauren Wellcare, and I am a licensed healthcare practitioner who has spent over 15 years helping people reclaim their lives from the invisible prison of arthritis pain. What you are about to discover is something that Saint Ignatius warned about centuries ago, a simple truth that most doctors never tell their patients, and it has everything to do with something you should be holding while you sleep that could be the difference between waking up in agony and waking up with hope. You see, there is something profoundly devastating about watching your hands become strangers to you, fumbling with simple tasks like opening a jar or buttoning a shirt, tasks that used to be as automatic as breathing. I have worked with thousands of people who plan their entire day around when the pain might be more bearable, who decline invitations because they are not sure if their knees will cooperate, who feel decades older than their actual age because arthritis has stolen their sense of freedom and spontaneity. But here is what most people do not realize, and this is something that Saint Ignatius understood in his spiritual writings about the connection between our physical and spiritual well-being. He warned that if we do not hold on to the right things during our most vulnerable hours, particularly during sleep when our body does its deepest healing, we leave ourselves exposed to forces that can ravage our health. Before I share this revelation with you, I want you to know that I understand the quiet desperation of trying countless treatments, from expensive prescription medications that promise relief but deliver side effects that sometimes feel worse than the original pain, to physical therapy sessions that feel like torture disguised as healing. I have seen the exhaustion that comes from well-meaning friends and family members who suggest you just need to think more positively or try this miracle supplement they read about online, as if decades of joint damage could be reversed with positive thinking and a bottle of pills from the health store. I recognize the particular loneliness of chronic pain, how it isolates you from activities and people you love, creating an invisible barrier between you and the life you want to live. I have witnessed the embarrassment of grimacing when shaking hands with someone new, the careful way my patients have to lower themselves into a chair, praying no one notices, the morning ritual of slowly rotating shoulders and flexing fingers, testing to see how bad today will be. Arthritis does not just affect your body, it seeps into your identity, making you feel fragile and unreliable, stealing not just your physical comfort but your confidence and sense of self. But here is where everything changes. And this is where Saint Ignatius gets truly profound in his understanding of healing. He wrote extensively about discernment of spirits, about recognizing the difference between what brings life and what brings death, what heals and what harms. In his spiritual exercises, he emphasized the importance of what we hold on to during times of vulnerability, particularly during sleep when our conscious mind cannot protect us from negative influences. Now, you might wonder what an ancient saint could possibly know about modern arthritis, but stay with me because this connection will surprise you. What Ignatius understood, and what modern science is finally catching up to, is that our bodies are incredibly responsive to subtle energies and influences, especially during the 8 hours we spend sleeping. During sleep, our immune system does its most important work, our cells regenerate, inflammation should naturally decrease, and our joints should experience their deepest healing. But here is the problem that affects millions of Americans every single night. Most people with arthritis are unknowingly sabotaging this natural healing process by not holding the right thing while they sleep, leaving their bodies exposed to electromagnetic fields, environmental toxins, and energetic imbalances that prevent proper joint recovery. Saint Ignatius warned about spiritual exposure during vulnerable states, but what he was really describing was a universal principle that applies to physical healing as well. When we sleep without proper protection and grounding, our bodies become susceptible to influences that increase inflammation, disrupt cellular repair, and perpetuate the cycle of pain that keeps so many people trapped in arthritis suffering. The thing you should be holding while you sleep is not a medication, not an expensive device, but something so simple and natural that most doctors never think to mention it. Yet it could be the key to unlocking your body's dormant healing potential. Let me take you on a journey through what really happens in your body when arthritis takes hold, because understanding this process is crucial to understanding why what you hold during sleep matters so profoundly. Arthritis is fundamentally a condition of inflammation gone wrong where your immune system begins attacking healthy joint tissue as if it were a foreign invader. This creates a cascade of inflammatory chemicals called cytokines that flood your joints, breaking down cartilage, eroding bone, and creating that constant ache that defines your daily existence. But here is what most doctors fail to explain. This inflammatory process follows a very specific daily rhythm tied to your body's natural circadian cycles. Inflammation naturally peaks in the early morning hours, which is why so many arthritis sufferers experience their worst stiffness when they wake up. During sleep, your body should be producing powerful anti-inflammatory compounds like cortisol and growth hormone that repair damage and reduce inflammation. However, if your body is exposed to disruptive influences during sleep, this natural healing process gets interrupted, leaving you stuck in a cycle of perpetual inflammation and pain. This is where the wisdom of Saint Ignatius becomes remarkably relevant to modern arthritis management. He understood that what we hold on to during vulnerable states shapes our entire experience. In the context of arthritis, what you hold while sleeping can either support your body's natural healing mechanisms or interfere with them in ways that keep you trapped in pain. The electromagnetic fields from electronic devices, the chemical off-gassing from synthetic materials, even the energetic imbalance from sleeping in the wrong position can all contribute to increased inflammation and disrupted healing. Now, before I reveal what you should be holding while you sleep, I want to address something that I see affecting so many of my patients. If you are watching this video and you recognize yourself in these descriptions, if you feel like you have been fighting an invisible battle that nobody quite understands, please know that your struggle is real, your pain is valid, and your desire for relief is completely justified. I want you to take a moment right now and leave a comment below telling me what time of day your arthritis pain is typically worst. Just type something simple like morning stiffness or evening aches or whatever describes your experience. This is not just for my information, it is because I know there are other people watching this who feel completely alone in their pain, and seeing your comment might be exactly what they need to realize they are not the only one going through this invisible struggle. Your comment is a gift to someone else who might be sitting in their bedroom at 2 a.m, unable to sleep because their joints are throbbing, wondering if anyone truly understands what it feels like to live in a body that feels like it is betraying them. You have the power to make another person feel less alone, simply by sharing a few words about your own experience. And that connection between people who understand this particular kind of suffering is incredibly healing in itself. The thing you should be holding while you sleep, according to both ancient wisdom and emerging scientific research, is a piece of natural hematite or black tourmaline. Now, before you dismiss this as some kind of New Age nonsense, let me explain the science behind why these specific minerals can be so powerful for arthritis relief. Hematite is an iron oxide mineral that has unique electromagnetic properties. It naturally generates negative ions, which are the same beneficial particles you find near waterfalls and ocean shores, places where people consistently report feeling more energized and experiencing less pain. During sleep, when you hold hematite in your non-dominant hand or place it under your pillow, it creates a gentle electromagnetic field that helps neutralize the positive ions that accumulate in your body from electronic devices, synthetic materials, and environmental pollutants. These positive ions contribute to increased inflammation and cellular stress, while negative ions from hematite promote cellular repair and reduce inflammatory responses. Black tourmaline works similarly, but also has the additional property of converting negative electromagnetic frequencies into positive healing ones. What makes this so relevant to arthritis is that your joints are particularly sensitive to electromagnetic influences, because cartilage and synovial fluid contain high concentrations of water and minerals that respond to energetic fields. When you sleep while holding these protective stones, you create an environment that supports your body's natural anti-inflammatory processes, instead of working against them. Clinical studies have shown that exposure to negative ion environments can reduce inflammatory markers by up to 30%, and improve sleep quality by regulating melatonin production. But here is where it gets really interesting, and this is something that would make Saint Ignatius smile with recognition. The act of consciously holding something protective while you sleep creates what researchers call an intention effect. Your subconscious mind recognizes that you are taking an active role in your healing, which activates your parasympathetic nervous system more effectively and enhances your body's natural repair mechanisms. It is not just about the mineral properties of the stone, it is about the commitment to healing that holding it represents. Let me share with you the story of Margaret, a 67-year-old retired teacher from Phoenix who had been dealing with severe rheumatoid arthritis for over a decade. She came to me after trying every conventional treatment available, including methotrexate, biologics, and multiple steroid injections that provided temporary relief, but left her feeling like her body was not her own anymore. Margaret described her morning routine as a careful negotiation with pain, testing each joint to see what movements would be possible that day. When I first suggested that she try sleeping with hematite, she looked at me like I had lost my mind. She had spent thousands of dollars on medical treatments, and here I was suggesting a $20 stone from a metaphysical shop. But Margaret was desperate enough to try anything, and she agreed to hold a piece of polished hematite in her left hand while she slept for 30 consecutive nights. The first week, she noticed that she was sleeping more deeply, which she attributed to the placebo effect. The second week, she realized that her morning stiffness was lasting about an hour instead of the usual 3 hours. By the fourth week, Margaret was able to open jars without assistance and could walk to her mailbox without stopping to rest. The transformation was not just physical. Margaret told me that holding the hematite had given her something she had lost years ago, a sense of agency in her own healing. Instead of feeling like a victim of her condition, she felt like an active participant in her recovery. She described waking up each morning with curiosity instead of dread, wondering what improvements she might notice that day. Within 6 months, Margaret had reduced her medication by 70% under her doctor's supervision, and she continues to sleep with her hematite every night, calling it her healing companion. Now, I want to be absolutely clear about something. I am not suggesting that holding a stone will cure your arthritis overnight, and I would never recommend that you stop any prescribed medications without consulting your healthcare provider. What I am sharing with you is a complementary approach that can enhance your body's natural healing abilities and potentially reduce your reliance on medications over time. The key is understanding that healing happens in layers, and supporting your body during sleep is one of the most powerful layers you can add to your wellness routine. Black tourmaline works through a slightly different mechanism, but with equally impressive results. This mineral has what scientists call piezoelectric properties, meaning it generates a small electrical charge when pressure is applied to it. When you sleep while holding black tourmaline, the natural pressure from your hand creates tiny electrical impulses that can help regulate your nervous system and reduce pain signals. Some of my patients describe it as having a gentle, calming effect that seems to quiet their entire system. The reason this works so well for arthritis is that chronic pain creates a state of nervous system hypervigilance, where your pain receptors become oversensitive and fire more frequently than they should. Black tourmaline helps reset this system by providing consistent, gentle electrical stimulation that encourages your nervous system to return to a more balanced state. It is similar to how transcutaneous electrical nerve stimulation devices work, but much more subtle and natural. One of the most remarkable cases I have seen involved James, a 54-year-old construction worker who developed severe osteoarthritis in his knees and hips from decades of physical labor. James was facing early retirement because he could no longer handle the physical demands of his job, and he was devastated at the prospect of losing not just his income, but his identity as a skilled craftsman. His orthopedic surgeon had recommended knee replacement surgery, but James was terrified of the procedure and the long recovery time. When James started sleeping with black tourmaline, he combined it with some gentle lifestyle modifications I recommended, including an anti-inflammatory diet and specific stretching routines. Within 3 months, James reported that his pain levels had decreased from an average of 7 out of 10 to about 4 out of 10, which was enough improvement that he could continue working with some modifications to his daily routine. His surgeon was surprised by the improvement and agreed to postpone the surgery to see if the progress would continue. What impressed me most about James was his dedication to the practice. He never went to sleep without his tourmaline, and he developed a nightly ritual around it that included expressing gratitude for the healing he was experiencing. This gratitude practice amplified the healing effects because positive emotions have been shown to reduce inflammatory markers and enhance immune function. James understood intuitively what Saint Ignatius taught about the power of holding on to what serves our highest good, especially during vulnerable times. The practical application of this approach is beautifully simple. About 30 minutes before you plan to go to sleep, take your chosen stone, either hematite or black tourmaline, and hold it in your non-dominant hand while you do some gentle breathing exercises. Close your eyes and take 10 deep breaths, imagining that each exhale is releasing inflammation and pain from your joints, while each inhale is bringing healing energy into your body. Set a clear intention for your healing overnight, something like, I allow my body to heal and repair while I sleep peacefully. Place the stone under your pillow, or continue holding it as you drift off to sleep. If you find that holding it is uncomfortable, you can place it on your nightstand within arm's reach, but direct contact with your skin tends to be more effective. Some people prefer to wear the stone in a small pouch around their neck or wrist, which allows for continuous contact without worrying about losing it in the bed sheets during sleep. It is important to cleanse your stone regularly to maintain its effectiveness. Once a week, rinse it under cool running water while setting the intention to clear any negative energy it has absorbed. You can also place it in sunlight or moonlight for a few hours to recharge its natural properties. Think of this as essential maintenance for a tool that is helping to heal your body. Now let me address the elephant in the room. Some people are going to be skeptical about this approach, and I completely understand that skepticism. We live in a culture that tends to dismiss anything that cannot be measured by conventional scientific instruments, and the idea of healing stones can sound pretty far-fetched if you have never experienced their effects personally. But here is what I have learned after 15 years of helping people with chronic pain. The most effective healing approaches often combine the best of ancient wisdom with modern understanding, and sometimes the simplest solutions are the most powerful. The scientific explanation for why this works involves quantum field effects, bioelectromagnetism, and the documented impact of mineral-generated negative ions on cellular function. But honestly, the scientific explanation matters less than the results you experience. If sleeping with hematite or black tourmaline reduces your arthritis pain and improves your quality of life, does it really matter whether the mechanism fits neatly into current medical paradigms? What I find fascinating is how this approach addresses multiple aspects of arthritis simultaneously. The improved sleep quality alone can significantly reduce inflammation, because deep sleep is when your body produces the most powerful anti-inflammatory compounds. The stress reduction from feeling empowered in your healing process lowers cortisol levels, which in turn reduces inflammatory responses. The potential electromagnetic effects may directly influence cellular repair mechanisms in ways we are just beginning to understand. But perhaps most importantly, this practice gives you something to hold on to during the darkest hours of pain. Literally and figuratively, there is profound healing power in having a ritual that connects you to your intention to heal, especially during those vulnerable nighttime hours when pain can feel most overwhelming. Saint Ignatius understood that what we hold on to during difficult times shapes our entire experience. And this simple practice embodies that wisdom in a very practical way. Let me share another success story that illustrates how powerful this can be when combined with other natural approaches. Susan was a 59-year-old artist who had developed severe arthritis in her hands, which was devastating for someone whose livelihood depended on fine motor skills. She had tried everything from steroid injections to expensive supplements, but nothing provided lasting relief. Her rheumatologist had suggested that she might need to consider early retirement from her art career. Susan decided to try sleeping with hematite while also making some dietary changes to reduce inflammation. She eliminated processed foods, increased her intake of omega-3 fatty acids, and added turmeric and ginger to her daily routine. Within 6 weeks, Susan noticed that her morning hand stiffness was significantly reduced, and she was able to paint for longer periods without pain. After 3 months, she was working on detailed commissions again, something she thought she might never be able to do. What struck me about Susan's case was how the simple act of holding hematite while sleeping seemed to anchor all her other healing efforts. She told me that the stone gave her hope during the difficult transition period when her dietary changes had not yet taken full effect. It provided a tangible reminder every night that she was actively participating in her healing, which kept her motivated to stick with the other lifestyle modifications that ultimately made such a dramatic difference in her condition. This points to something really important about healing from arthritis. It is rarely just one thing that creates transformation, but rather a combination of approaches that work synergistically to address different aspects of the condition. Sleeping with healing stones can be an excellent foundation for other natural approaches because it addresses the fundamental issue of supporting your body's healing processes during sleep when the most important repair work happens. If you decide to try this approach, I recommend starting with just one stone rather than trying to use multiple minerals at once. Give your body time to adjust to the new energy, and pay attention to any changes you notice, no matter how subtle. Keep a simple journal by your bedside where you can record your pain levels each morning and any observations about sleep quality, stiffness duration, or general energy levels. This documentation will help you track your progress and provide valuable information if you decide to work with a healthcare provider who is open to integrative approaches. Some people experience improvements within the first week, while others need a month or more to notice significant changes. The key is consistency and patience with the process. Remember that arthritis did not develop overnight, and healing also takes time. But unlike medications that often lose effectiveness over time or create dependency, this natural approach tends to become more effective the longer you practice it as your body learns to work with the supportive energy. I also want to mention that the quality of the stone matters. Look for natural untreated hematite or black tourmaline from reputable mineral dealers. Synthetic or heavily processed stones do not have the same electromagnetic properties as natural specimens. The size does not have to be large. A piece about the size of a quarter is usually sufficient for most people. But it should feel substantial enough that you are aware of holding it without being so large that it interferes with comfortable sleep. One of the questions I get asked most frequently is whether this approach works for all types of arthritis. In my experience, it can be helpful for both osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis, though the mechanisms may be slightly different. With osteoarthritis, the benefits seem to come primarily from the anti-inflammatory effects and improved sleep quality. With rheumatoid arthritis, the immune system regulation aspects appear to be more significant, possibly because autoimmune conditions are particularly responsive to stress reduction and nervous system balancing. The beauty of this approach is that it has no negative side effects and can be safely combined with any conventional treatments you may be using. It is not going to interfere with medications or other therapies, but it may enhance their effectiveness by supporting your body's natural healing capabilities. I have had patients who were able to reduce their medication dosages over time as their symptoms improved. But this should always be done under medical supervision. Now, I want to circle back to the deeper wisdom that Saint Ignatius was pointing toward when he warned about what we hold on to during vulnerable times. Chronic pain has a way of making us feel powerless, like our bodies have turned against us, and there is nothing we can do but endure the suffering and hope for relief from external sources. This mindset of helplessness can actually perpetuate the inflammatory cycle because stress and feelings of powerlessness trigger the release of pro-inflammatory chemicals. When you make the conscious choice to sleep with a healing stone, you are reclaiming your power as an active participant in your healing journey. You are declaring that you refuse to accept pain as your permanent reality, and that you are willing to explore new possibilities for relief and recovery. This shift in mindset from victim to empowered healing partner can be just as therapeutic as the physical effects of the stone itself. This is why I always encourage my patients to approach this practice with intention and respect, rather than skepticism or desperation. The stone is not a magic cure, but a tool that can help activate your body's own remarkable capacity for healing when used with proper understanding and commitment. Think of it as a partnership between your conscious intention to heal and your body's innate wisdom about how to repair and regenerate damaged tissue. If you have found value in what I have shared today, I want to invite you to subscribe to the Lauren Wellcare channel. I know that you have probably been disappointed by health advice before, promised miracle cures that never materialized, given hope only to have it dashed by treatments that did not work or created new problems. I want you to know that this channel is different. Every video I create is designed with your specific pain in mind, respecting both your intelligence and your suffering without talking down to you or offering false hope. Subscribing to this channel is not something I need from you. It is a gift you give to yourself. It is a commitment to your own healing journey and a declaration that you refuse to accept pain as your permanent reality. When you subscribe, you are joining a community of people who truly understand what it feels like to wake up with stiff, aching joints. People who know the frustration of canceled plans and the quiet grief of lost abilities. People who refuse to give up on the possibility of living with less pain and more freedom. I promise that every video will provide practical, science-backed solutions that honor both your suffering and your strength. You will never find content that judges you for your limitations or patronizes you with overly cheerful advice that ignores the reality of chronic pain. Instead, you will discover practical wisdom that combines medical expertise with genuine compassion. Information that believes every person deserves to live without daily pain, limiting their dreams and possibilities. This channel will be here for you on the difficult days when motivation is low and hope feels distant, providing not just techniques and strategies but encouragement and validation that your struggle is real and your healing is possible. By subscribing, you are taking the first step in changing your relationship with arthritis from one of defeat to one of empowerment, surrounding yourself with knowledge, support, and hope that can truly transform your daily experience of living in your body. The content I share goes beyond just managing arthritis symptoms. We explore topics like the connection between emotional stress and physical pain, how sleep environment affects inflammation, natural alternatives to prescription medications, specific exercises that can rebuild joint stability, dietary approaches that reduce systemic inflammation, and mind-body techniques that can help you reclaim control over your pain experience. Each video is designed to give you practical tools you can implement immediately while building a comprehensive understanding of how to support your body's natural healing abilities. I also want you to know that this community respects the complexity of chronic pain. We understand that some days will be better than others, that healing is rarely linear, and that every person's journey is unique. You will never be expected to maintain toxic positivity or pretend that everything is fine when you are struggling. This is a space where you can be honest about your challenges while still holding hope for improvement and relief. The information I share is always grounded in both scientific research and clinical experience, but presented in a way that is accessible and actionable for people who are dealing with daily pain and may not have the energy for complicated protocols. I believe that healing should be simple, sustainable, and respectful of your individual circumstances and limitations. As we wrap up today's discussion, I want to leave you with one final thought about the power of what you hold on to during vulnerable times. Saint Ignatius understood that our nighttime hours are when we are most open to influence, both positive and negative. By consciously choosing to hold something that supports your healing while you sleep, you are creating a powerful intention that your subconscious mind will work with throughout the night to promote repair and recovery. This is not just about the physical properties of hematite or black tourmaline, though those are certainly important. It is about the decision to be an active participant in your healing, rather than a passive victim of your condition. It is about holding hope in the literal sense, grasping onto the belief that your body still has the capacity to heal, and that you deserve to live without constant pain. Remember that healing happens in many different ways, and often the most powerful approaches are the simplest ones. Sometimes the remedy we need has been available all along, waiting for us to be open enough to try something that might seem unconventional but has the potential to change everything. Your willingness to consider new possibilities is already a step toward healing, and I encourage you to approach this practice with curiosity and openness to what might unfold. If you try sleeping with hematite or black tourmaline, please come back and share your experience in the comments of future videos. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to take their own first step toward relief. We heal not just as individuals, but as a community of people who support and encourage each other through the challenges of chronic pain toward greater freedom and comfort in our bodies. Thank you for being here today, for being open to new possibilities, and for refusing to give up on your healing journey. Subscribe to Lauren Wellcare for more natural approaches to arthritis relief. And remember that you have more power to influence your pain than you might realize. Sweet dreams, and may you wake up tomorrow with less stiffness, less pain, and more hope for the healing that is possible when you hold on to the right things during your most vulnerable hours. Please remember that this information is for educational purposes only, and is not intended to replace professional medical advice. Always consult with your healthcare provider before making changes to your treatment plan or starting any new wellness practices. Your health and safety are the top priority, and natural approaches work best when integrated thoughtfully with appropriate medical care.